How's it going? We're back. We're back. Wednesday night, Patterdale Talk. Brought to you by Live Your Life Dogs, like all the ways, sponsored by the NEPTC and the PTCA. And you guys know what we do. We come here and talk Patterdale, talk Terrier, talk dogs. As you know, we always sometimes it goes off and we talk about other breeds or types or whatever. But Patterdale Talk Wednesdays, and we have special guests, very special guests. A lot of you guys know him, of course. Joseph Carter, the Mink Man. And yeah, he been on here before a couple months ago, couple months back. Not a little bit more than a couple, but some months back. And yeah, we had a great talk. You want to say anything before we get into it?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I always love talking dogs or working animals in general. Doesn't matter what the species. I enjoy working animals. They're a beautiful thing.
For sure, for sure. And as many know, if you don't know, they call him the Mink Man because he hunts with minks, and I don't think anyone else does that. Pretty sure there's probably some people thinking about trying or maybe trying, even if I'm not, or even if I don't know anyone who is, but yeah. But yeah, do you how's it going? How's it going with we'll talk dogs first, but of course we're gonna talk minks too. I always like to see how many minks you got and what new minks you're working with. And but how's it going with the dogs? Last time we spoke, you had a new terrier. Or you were searching for a new terrier. You had got one, and she was doing great. And I don't. Did you get any new dogs since then, or
I'll
anything?
be honest. I can't. My time frame gets muddled pretty quick in my head, so I'm not really sure what I've had or had at the time we spoke.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, right now I could just go over what I have and whether those are new or old.
Hmm.
You guys can know it. So I've got my old faithful. I mean, she's not that old. She's only 4.5. Well, I guess coming up on 5. She'll be 5 in September. My old faithful, middle aged faithful, whatever you want to call her, Bindi. She's a
And
purebred American Pit Bull Terrier that I got from down in Texas. And she's a real pit bull. She's not the silly show dogs or the pet dogs or the mutts that people call pit bulls. She's a real true blue pit bull, and she's awesome. She's the backbone of everything I do. She had a litter. I bred her to. I was really picky about the sire. I basically went out and said, okay, what's the best in the world that fits my very specific criteria
hmm.
and traits that I'm looking for? Found him, coughed up the cash, bred to him, got a litter of pups. So now I have Bindi and then her daughter Grit. She's what is she, 8.5 months now, and
Who is showing not to cut you off, just who is her daughter Grit? Is she showing at 8 months? You had Bendy at 8 months, correct?
yeah, I got Bindi at 8.5 weeks, I think it was. So
Okay.
weaning age.
Is she showing good signs like Bendy? Better, less, kind of the same, or
I like to think better, but they are different. Like one's more in one area and one's more in the different. So like Bindi was more hot at a young age for coons,
Mhm.
which Grit loves coons. She'll scream her head off and grab them. But Bindi, there was just a little higher intensity at a younger age. But Bindi was really soft on rats. Like no joke, she'd hand you a live rat at like 9, 10 months old. She'd catch it, bring it back to you alive. It was like, dog, why don't you kill it? Silly thing, you go bonkers wanting to get a coon, and then
Yeah.
you grab a rat alive and bring it to me. Well, Grit will kill a rat, but she's a little more reserved on coons so far. Again,
Okay. So kind of
reserved.
like they kind of like the opposite. Both
Yeah,
both showing good signs, but
yeah.
one
Grit.
like one was showing one like the coon a little better at this age, and one like the rat a little better at this age.
Yeah, they're both super smart, as far as I could tell. Lots of brains, really good nose. I kind of maybe think she's got a better nose, but I mean that's really hard to tell. They're both have great noses. They can track. She's run, I think her, oh, I don't even want to guess. I think it's like 1.5 miles is her farthest track. She's tracked a squirrel for 1.5 miles. Grit has. Um, good tracking ability, locating ability, smart. I think Grit's going to be more athletic than her mother. But maybe she'll bulk up like her mother did later in life. Who knows? But right now she looks real quick and snappy, whereas her mom's a little more stocky.
How much does Bindi weigh?
Bindi is 37 pounds. Was the last I weighed her light and trim. But since she had the puppies, I haven't really got her below 40. It's been winter and such, so I'm trying to cut her weight back down to summer weight now. So we'll see. She maybe grew. Maybe she's more like 38, 39 now. I don't know. It's hard to tell. She carried that baby fat ever since, so I haven't really trimmed her down. So we'll see. Ask me in a few weeks when I got her down to a nice working weight. I like to keep my dogs a little bit fat in the winter. I mean, fat. Most people wouldn't call it fat, but for me, fat, especially short-coated breeds, you know, they do a lot of cold work in the ice water and junk, and they literally they get to where they shut down. They get so cold sometimes, and so I like to have just a little extra layer on them. And since it's warming up, obviously you want the opposite. You want them slick and light for keeping the heat off, keep them from overheating. So I'm working on getting her heat down, but my guess is she's about 38 pounds. Cool thing about this litter, I've got 3 out of the 5. Well, I guess including the one I kept, 4 out of the 5 I've been able to keep local. So I'm actually able to see them once or twice a month. Hey, let's go out raccoon hunting.
I was just gonna say, do you think are these the people that have them? Did you give them the people that are gonna work them, or just?
Oh yeah, I was extremely picky. I was stupid picky.
I was just gonna. Okay. You just answered my next question. Was you like, was that a thing? Was like someone who had to work them, and you made sure you worked them, and you? Yep. So I get it.
Yeah, I was extremely picky with where they went. And yeah, so 3 working homes, all local, including mine, the 4th. Obviously, I'm going to work her. So it's been fun. I've actually had them all on a ratting. That was total chaos because none of them knew what they were doing. And I got all 4 pups ratting together. That was fantastic. It was amazing to see the raw intelligence because, there's no experience. You can't be like, oh, that dog's,
just figure it out.
It was his first time out and they were doing better. I got to say, every pup that was there was doing better their first time out than some dogs.
How many pups did you say you had again?
It was 5. It was 4 males and a female.
Okay, so okay. So yeah, it was pretty much cool. Fun chaos. And did you have when you did this, did you have the older dogs out there, or just kind of do it?
I started with Bindi there, and I was like, I'm probably gonna have to put her away because she'll just end up catching everything. It's not fair.
Yeah.
She does that with good experienced dogs. Of course, she's gonna totally blow the puppies out of the water.
Yeah, I've watched the videos when you do the count, and Bindi's always on.
Always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of dog. You could have a fast dog. You can have a smart dog. You could have a gritty dog. You have a little dog. Doesn't matter what kind of dog.
Yeah.
She's not gonna beat them. She's gonna massacre them. It's going to be like, hey, can you get half as many rats as Bindi? If you can, you've done well. The competition.
I've seen it out there when you had.
Bindi. It's like, can you get half as many as her? That's the competition.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos when you had Bindi. You had a little dog that looked like a whippet. Another video where you had a dog that looked like a greyhound or a lurcher, and Bindi always and then you always have like other little terriers and stuff like that sometimes. And Bindi always puts in work.
Yeah, she typically beats the 2nd and 3rd place dogs or ties them.
It's funny how
and then I've had times where she's beat every other dog there combined or tied the entire group. Like, let's say there's 100 rats caught. She's 51 and they're 49. Like all the other dogs combined. That's not unheard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny how we talk Patterdales, but just talk about the pit bull for a second. How they it's kind of like no matter what they do, like people can have a type of dog or a breed of dog for like 10 years doing something, and then they'll get like two pit bulls and try it out, and then the pit bull's like the best at it.
Yeah. And she's dang good at that. I could tell you that much. It's mostly in her head because she's obviously quick, compared to like a terrier, but she's not quick compared to a sight hound. I mean, she's ratted with a Malinois lurcher that could easily run circles around her.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, though, there are points when she's quicker than that. He's half hot blood, not just any sight hound. He's half top tier racing hot blood. So basically, let me tell you the story about that litter. This guy, they were shutting down racing where he lived, and he had this top tier female, but the racing was all shut down. So he's like, what do I do with her, man? Like,
yep.
I can't waste this.
I'm just looking at something.
No worries. I can't waste this bitch, man. She's like phenomenal, top tier, amazing stuff. But like, I'm not going to breed a greyhound to her. Like, what am I going to do with the pups? And so he put it out there. He's like, hey, and he had some old Malinois semen that was some, I don't remember what sport, but it was like a top tromp ranking dog in one of their sports. I don't remember which one it was, whether it was Mondo Ring or whatever. I know it wasn't Schultzone. I could say that much. But anyway, some sport top sire, and he just had the semen in the freezer. And he's like, hey, dude, what if I put these two together? Does anyone want a pup? And I'm like, my buddy does. And he's like, I'll get one for your buddy. So he made this cross, and I swear this dog is probably faster than most straight greyhounds. Like, he is nuts for only being half greyhound. But as you can imagine, Malinois are probably one of, if not the fastest non-sight hound out there, right? Like, they're up there. They're up there. If you
definitely up there. Definitely up there. There's a million types of, not, I don't know, literally a million, but there's so many types of dogs. But yeah, they're definitely up there. But finish what you're saying. I agree.
His dog is fast, but Bindi on a very short sprint will actually beat him. And it's just because she can get up to speed faster than he can. Now, a couple strides later, and he's blowing past her, right? Easily. But just those couple first strides, I've seen her beat him to a rat.
So it's basically the agility versus the speed thing.
It's just
her agility, like the quick step in the turns, and that them, like, if you're playing like something like basketball, they'll call it like the quick first two steps are quicker, but then the defensive player might be able to catch up. You know what I mean? So something that like that, and that becomes an agility thing, where someone might be faster, but them two quick steps, because of their agility, those are a little faster. So that seems like what is happening with them, where, like you said, if it's a couple more strides, then the speed comes in. But the first two or three little jukes, or turn right quick or turn left quick because you see a rat, the agility is on Bendy is top notch.
Yeah. So anyway, it's cool. It's mostly brains, but I mean, she is a quick, athletic dog for what she is, right? Not again. I mean, you cross her with a whippet, you'll make a faster dog. Right? But anyway, she's cool, man. She's fun, and it amazes me too. We'll go out hunting with someone with their whatever they've got, and they're looking for coons and looking for coons and looking for coons, and they can't find a coon. They can't find a coon, and I'll turn to them and say, I think there's a coon here. Do you want me to turn Bindi out? And they'll be like, go ahead. And I'll turn her loose, and boom, she's got the coon. And their dog's been running. It could be a Patterdale, it could be a Yog, it could be a whatever they've got. A cur running around. I can't remember if it was a Kimmer cur or a mountain cur. But anyway, some kind of cur running around. None of them could get it locked down. I turned Bindi loose, and more times than not, she shuts them down and got a coon caught. And I was like, well, I knew there was a coon in there.
Oh yeah, I just let me bring me back. That's right. I just looked it up. It says Belgian Malinois, they reach top speed 30 to 35. Pit bulls is 25 to 30.
Yeah, I never
at least that's what I was just gonna say. At least that's what Google says, but we're
Yeah,
not. That's
Google
not
says
always 100.
Google says some crazy, goofy stuff.
Yeah,
They'll say a gray wolf is as fast as a greyhound, and it's like,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
And
yeah.
why do they catch them? Like
On this matter, I think they're probably they might be right when it comes to these two type dogs, but that was the next thing I was gonna say. Yeah, you can't always just run and believe what Google says. That's for sure.
especially
Especially when
with
it comes to health and stuff with dogs. I know that
yeah,
for
and
sure.
speed and bite pressure, the two most goofy numbers that people come up with, just total bullcrap. I've heard people saying their Jack Russell's runs 30 miles an hour. It's like, yeah, maybe if you like put him in the back of the truck, like what I mean. Like, and I've heard people like, oh, these bite they're coming all over on YouTube, like, or not YouTube, excuse me,
Yeah.
Facebook. It's like, oh, this breed bites this much, and this breed bites
Oh,
that much,
yep, yep.
this
I've
breed
seen
bites
that.
that much, and
I've
I'm like,
seen that.
okay, yeah. Let's see how hard it bites when a coon's latched onto his nose. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
all that bite pressure is gone, and the dog's going.
And then it's like, I mean, there's like, if there's someone who got a dog and they're focused on the like bite pressure and building their dog's bite, it might be stronger than the average dog. Like, say if it's a Rottweiler and they just focused on the jaw work, the jaw work, it might be a little stronger than the average Rottweiler. You know what I mean?
Well, it's mostly genetics, and a dog bites as hard as they want to bite. I've seen dogs who, okay, my buddy has this lurcher.
Hmm.
It's a stag hound cross
Come on.
with a
Hmm.
Draughtar, if you know what that is. It's a German Wirehair pointer. This
Yeah.
dog,
Remember I was telling you my lurcher has
oh
that
yeah,
in her.
that's right. This dog couldn't kill a coon to save his life. Little coon, unless it's like a baby. Like, he just doesn't try, not really that into it. Just a disappointing dog all around, especially because he's got brothers that kill coyotes. They're awesome dogs. He just himself sucks. But if you get a little bulldog or a terrier or whatever to go into him, all of a sudden he's biting like crazy. And it's like, dude, he's biting the life out of that freaking dog. Get him off. It's like, why didn't you do that to the coon? The coon was biting you, and you didn't bite him back like that. But when someone's freaking dog latches onto him, all of a sudden he's got all this jaw strength that comes from out of nowhere. It's like, you stupid piece of crap. What a useless dog, And then I've seen dogs on coons. I've seen dogs on coons where they don't bite hard until the coon's dead. The minute the coon's dead, all of a sudden you hear crunching bones, and they're just going into it and into it. But the whole
You
time
think they're trying to you think that's something because I've seen dogs who do that. Do you think that's is it like now it's dead and they're trying to eat it?
no, I think this is my opinion. I think they're just a coward. And
Okay.
now it's not scary anymore. Now all of a sudden I'm tough.
Okay.
I'm tough now that it's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, but when he's fighting, you're like, oh, he's still alive. Oh,
kind of like that guy who only acts tough when security's in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. Then all of a sudden, oh, he's tough. Now he's dead. That's just my interpretation. I don't know why they do that. I've seen dogs that do the opposite. That while it's alive and fighting, they're just biting the heck out of it. And the harder the coon is. My friend has a dog. Okay, here's a goofy thing. It's a half pit, half Patterdale, and this dog was on.
There's more of those, and there's more of those than you said it was goofy. So, but not saying it's not goofy, but there's a lot of those out there.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So this dog was goofy, man. He was on this big old coon. He just wouldn't finish it. Wouldn't finish it. We're like, oh man, he's struggling. Let's pull his brother out. Maybe he needs some help. So he pulls his brother out of the truck. That dog he doesn't like his brother, by the way. They have a very much animosity towards each other. Like it's a competitive relationship. It's not a friendly, oh, you're my brother, let's work together. It's like, you're my brother, I better get this before you get it from me.
Mufasa versus Scar.
Yeah. So they pulled his brother out to see if he needed some help because he just couldn't finish this coon. Boom, coon was dead instantly. He just killed it. It's like, You could have done that the whole time, but because you think your brother's going to steal your coon, all of a sudden
he's in competition. Yeah, because he's in
you piece of
competition.
crap. We should. I said you should just have him on the leash the whole time, and he'll finish his coons. But yeah, I've seen goofy stuff like that. So many goofy things, or like I had a bull lurcher that if the coon was easy, like injured or young, he wouldn't really try very hard. But if it was hard and rough, he would try harder, and he would literally kill a rough coon faster than an easy coon because he'd be like screwing around with the easy one. He's like, this one's young.
Waste of his time. I mean, I've seen that with dog aggression though, where dogs that will like only have aggression towards dogs their size or bigger, and then just leave a little dog alone.
Yeah. But yeah, Bindy's funny. She'll grab a coon just to get it in position so she could go for her kill shot. She loves the throat. She's just pure throat dog. But sometimes you got to grab a coon by something other than their throat. Like if it's running away in the brush, you can't get to the throat. All you have is a furry butt in front of your face, right? Or if you're down in a pipe or a beaver hole, there's nothing but that coon's face. You can't get to the throat, and the coon's like biting at you. So she will grab, for example, if it's down in a culvert or a pipe or a beaver den or a raccoon den. I've seen dens that I don't know what else would have dug it other than a raccoon. People say raccoons aren't like big burrowers. I've seen holes that I'm like, dude, I don't know what else dug this hole. It's a perfectly raccoon-sized hole where no other animal I can think of would live. Maybe it started.
I wouldn't say they do it a lot, but I wouldn't say they do it like obviously as much as like other animals, but I've seen and I'm not even like someone who's been out crazy hunting for years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen coons in holes, you know what I mean? So they definitely do. Maybe not a lot, but they do.
Yeah, and I think the overwhelming majority of the time they're in someone else's hole, a fox's hole, a woodchuck's hole, a beaver's hole, some even muskrat holes. I've seen them in muskrat holes, but I have seen times when it's like I cannot picture any other animal digging this other than the animal who's in it, which is the raccoon. Anyway, Bindy will squeeze down in these coon holes or beaver holes or pipes or whatever, and she has nothing but the face, like it's all mouth to mouth, and so she'll grab their muzzle and she'll pull it out by the muzzle, but she's not really biting it. She's just holding it. She's just holding it there. And she pulls it out. Sometimes she'll get mad and bite it and like break the muzzle. But other times she doesn't even try and hurt it. She's just holding it until she gets out of the hole. And then as soon as she gets out of the hole, she turns it loose and then bap, hits the throat. And then she's biting it. It's funny how she'll do that.
And
or like she'll grab an ear. Like a raccoon is in a
she
weird...
doesn't like... Go ahead.
She'll have a raccoon in a weird position, and she's got someplace other than the throat. Like I said, the muzzle, the ear, the back end, because it was running through brush and she had nothing to bite. And she doesn't even try. You can tell she's not driving in. She's not biting hard. She's just holding it, reposition, let go, wham, hit the throat. And then she's it's funny how she does that. Like it's like she doesn't even want to waste her energy until she's got the throat in her mouth.
Yeah.
And then she's just pouring on the pressure.
And it's like you could just either way works. I mean, because of what she's a pit bull, so she's strong enough to pull it out. And she doesn't understand. Like she could just, when she does that, she could just crush the whole mouth, and then it can't even bite back.
Yeah, and then it's like, man, why don't you do that every time? And I've seen her do it, but it's usually in a place where she's frustrated. She's in like a twisty hole with lots of roots, and she can't just pull it out clean like
she's smart as hell, bro. It sounds like she understands that, like, I can't pull it out, so this time I will crush the mouth. But if I can pull it out, I'm just gonna pull it out and get to the throat and end it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So if it's a smooth tunnel or something easy where she could just pull it out, that coon probably doesn't even have much bruising, let alone broken anything on their muzzle. But if she like, once she got a really bad one up under these rocks, it was like I think it was cement. It was in the dark, so it's hard to tell what exactly it was. But the way it was shaped, I think it was a cement, but not like a smooth pad. It was like someone just like poured cement. It was for this washout area where it's kind of hard to explain, but the canal water would come off of a high hill and then come down into the river. So I think they just poured.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they did.
To
I
keep
could
it
picture it
from
right in my
washing.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
to
could
keep the
picture it right
ground
in
from
my
just
mind.
washing away all the soil. Anyway,
Yep.
the raccoon was up under there, and it was a big rough. It was a sow. It wasn't even a boar, but it was a big rough sow. And with all of the jaggedness, it could like brace itself, and she couldn't. And when she tries to pull it out, then she runs into a rock, and she's backed up. So it was really difficult, and she couldn't just grab it and pull it out. And it took I don't know how long for her to get it out.
Oh,
But by
that's
the
funny.
time she got it out, that thing had no teeth, no jaw, like
Yeah,
everything
so
was
she
removed.
understood. She understood.
It couldn't. It was
She
helpless.
understood
It
the
couldn't fight.
assignment.
It was fully alive, but it could not.
So that be so like so my Patterdale Sin, she tends to when she goes, you know, ground, she's like, you know, we spoke about it before. She's about 10 pounds, 10 and a half, 11 top. So she's more of the groundhog dog, but she tends to break their bottom jaw. Like, you know what I mean? But one thing about the groundhogs is that they're harder to pull out. Not harder, but they're hard to pull out because they swell up.
Yeah.
You know, they swell up and then the
Race
dog,
against everything.
yeah, they swell up. And then obviously she's a smaller dog, which obviously she doesn't, you know, she doesn't have the strength of a pit bull to pull it out. But one thing I noticed that is she will get up under there and break the bottom jaw to where they're not able to bite her back. And then she'll just go away tugging, trying to pull them out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then that's when we go, obviously, she's not, or sometimes the hole is just small, but she's small, so she could get her neck and her face, her neck and her head in there. You know what I mean? Or her body in there, but the hole's too small for her to just pull the groundhog out because it swell up. So obviously, you know, we dig down from the top and do what we got to do and get the groundhog out. But I noticed that she will get up under and break the bottom jaw and then kind of do like the pull out thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So a lot of the times when we have got to groundhog that she has got on the bottom jaw is, which sucks if we're trying to if it's a relocate situation, but yeah, the bottom jaw is broke. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really feeding that poor guy.
Yeah. But yeah, now do you have any Patterdales that you're working with Bendy and your other dogs, like just straight Patterdales or right now?
Yeah, so I started listing my dogs and I went off.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, bro.
So I've got Bindi and her daughter. Obviously, her daughter's not working yet. She's just learning the ropes.
Okay.
And then I've got two little terriers. One's a straight Patterdale from Solo, and she's a tiny little female. What is she? Just under 10. I think she's just under 10 pounds.
Did we speak about her last time?
Probably. I don't remember, to be honest.
I think we did.
But yeah, let me look it up to make sure I'm giving you the right numbers. I think she's just under 10. And then I've got a teeny little red one that's a quarter not Yog, excuse me, a quarter Russell. Quarter Russell, 3/4 Pat. And it was bred by Dirt Road and a buddy of mine. Here we go. Let's see what their actual weights are. So yeah, she's just over 10, excuse me. She's 10 and a half when she's nice and trim. And then the little red one is just under the mix. She's just under 9. She's 8.8. So yeah, both real small little dogs. It's a little disappointing that the straight Pat doesn't like to go to ground as much. Like she won't press herself and squeeze as tight as I'd like. But the little red dog does. She just crams herself. She crams herself so hard she gets stuck about a third of the time, and you gotta retrieve her. So she won't, or she has to dig herself out again. Like she just.
How much does she weigh?
8.8.
But are these rat holes?
No, so it's when we're ratting, a lot of times there's rats under structures. So like under a shed,
under structures.
and she'll basically do what the mink would have done if I'd have put the mink loose. She'll, if she can, obviously a lot of times she can't fit and I have to use the mink. But in the times when she can fit, she'll dig and squeeze and dig and squeeze and get under those beams. So it's a tight point followed by more space, and then another tight spot followed by more space because it's under a shed usually.
And then sooner or later, one of those tight points is just too tight for her.
Yeah, and then she's stuck there, and we got to find some way to get her out.
Yeah, she would be a good groundhog dog.
I want to try her on groundhogs. We don't really have them here. We have
I remember you saying that.
And we've done a little bit of rock chunk hunting. She didn't know what they were and wouldn't go after them. We saw one on the road by my canal I do pest control for. It crossed the road, and I dropped them and said, "Where is it?" And they're like, "We don't smell anything." We're like, "Yeah, you don't know what we're looking for, do you?" So I set a trap and caught it so I could show her, "Hey, this is what we're looking for."
Yep.
Now she's all about it. So if we could find another opportunity to get her on one, that'd be great. I want to go do a little groundhog digging this summer if I can. I'm going to be traveling to the Midwest for a wedding.
Where are you located again?
I'm in Utah. That's where I live, but I'll be over in kind of Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan kind of area, Wisconsin, kind of that little part of the world. So I'm going to try, I'll be going through Missouri and stuff. So I'm going to try and do a little bit with her just to see what she's like.
You're going to Ohio?
I'll be going to Illinois, my end location, but
okay, Illinois. Okay.
But I'll probably go. I don't know. We'll see what actually happens, but
okay.
But yeah, I'd like to get her on something and see. I've seen her do some cool stuff underground. I saw her stay on a coon for an hour. She's very, very, very like she's not hard. She's a bear. She'll stand back and I mean, she'll obviously kill rats and stuff, rats and squirrels, but on something bigger like a coon, she'll bay. I've dug to her on muskrat, believe it or not. She's fit. And she stayed on the muskrat the whole time till I dug to her. And it was in a position where she couldn't get to it. And so she was baying just because she got to the end of where she could fit. But I've dug to her on muskrat. I had her on a coon underground for like an hour, and she never got a mark on her, but she kept that coon there. Every time it turned around, there was parts where we could see what was going on. And if it turned around, she'd nailed it. And then if it faced her, she'd back up. And if it charged her, she'd run backwards. And then if it backed up, she'd run forward. So it was like she was like keeping a perfect.
So you and I'm gonna ask this because we to be honest, we like more the engaged things. So you rather that or than a dog that just engage?
Oh, definitely, because I use her on beavers for bolting beavers.
Okay.
And I do not want her engaging with a beaver. If I put her in with another dog, she will. She's come out of a hole riding on a beaver trying to throat it. So you cannot work.
No, it may for if you're doing what you're saying it for and you're doing it for beaver and stuff like that, then yeah, you don't want a dog to just engage. For like what I'm doing where my Patterdale, you know, I want her to engage and hold so we could dig down and get to whatever it is. But for if I was using her to bay beaver or chase out beaver or something like that, no, I wouldn't. I would want more of a bay dog. Yeah. So I get why you like that and have trained her to do that.
Yeah, and I didn't really train her. That's just how she was. I got her knowing she was a bay dog. The guy who had her before me, she was like 1.5 years when I got her, maybe closer to 2. No, I think she was 1.5 years. Anyway, she was old enough that he already knew what she was, and he could tell me this is how she works, and like that's what I'm looking for. But yeah, with the beavers, you want them just enough pressure to get the beaver out of the hole, and that's it. And then
I get it for sure.
With those beaver holes too, they're big enough a pit bull can fit. So even if we get a coon in that hole, I don't want her getting chewed up by a coon. She's little. All I want her to do is let me know, hey, there's a coon down here instead of a beaver. Send the pit bull. That's all I need to know, because I don't want to send the pit bull in first, because if it's a beaver down there and that beaver charges her, she's not going to run. She knows.
Not at all.
She
It'd be a
knows
dead beaver.
I'm not supposed to get beavers, and she respects that. But if a beaver's charging her, she's not going to respect that. All the training will go out the window, and she'll latch on. And then I got a dog who's sliced to pieces and a dead beaver, and it's just not something I'm interested in. So what I do is I have a soft little terrier I send in first. I say, hey, what's in this hole? If it's a beaver, it'll come flying out. If it's a coon, you'll hear snarls and barking, and you say, oh, it's a coon up in there. Send the pit bull. And what's interesting is I've gotten so good, or not me, but my pit bull Bindy's gotten so good. A lot of times I already know. I'll look at Bindy, and if she's excited, there's a coon down there. But if she's just standing there chill, there's a beaver down there, because she knows she's not supposed to get beavers. But if she's all excited, and half the time it's not even a hole. Half the time we're just working a big batch of reeds where there will be holes intermediately. And so I just turn the terrier loose and let her work. And I tell Bindy, you get on the other side of the canal and just stay on the road. Let the terrier work the brush. And I'll be watching my pit. Oh, there's a coon coming up. I mean, we haven't heard anything yet, but I already know there's a coon coming up. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. Go get it. And I'll let her in there, and she'll go in and catch it. And it's just based on her body language. But when there's an actual den, I don't trust her, because what if there's both? I've never had both, but I guarantee you someday I'll run into a situation where there's a beaver and a raccoon in the same hole. I would assume.
Think so?
Yeah, because there's so
they won't.
often.
You don't think that? Oh, one sec. Let me give a just shout out to everyone in the not to cut you off, bro.
No, go ahead.
Shout out to everyone on the live. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We got the Mink Man here tonight, talking about all different types of hunting, and hunting with minks. Shout out to Mano of Stale, Crockett, 101. 101 said his dog lost his sight from a beaver. Can you put in the comments what happened? Explain what happened. I would like to know. I'm pretty sure everyone else would watch and like to know. And again, this is brought to you by Live Your Life Dogs. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Appreciate everyone for locking in with us tonight. Mink Man has some good knowledge of the terrier work. Most of these people have no clue. Yes, Mink Man definitely has good knowledge of terrier work. And some people, most people might not have no clue, but over here it's in respect for you for commenting, but over here it's positive vibes, and you're right. Most people might not have a clue, but that's what we're here for. That's why we bring people like the Mink Man on here, so we can all learn. Me myself, I'm learning. We're all learning. Well, I'm pretty sure as life goes on, the Mink Man knows a lot about the minks, a lot about dogs, but as he goes on, he learns more. That's how life goes. So we're all here learning, and even if you have no clue, it's all good. That's what we're here for. That's what this channel is for, to help people learn. But we're gonna get back to what the Mink Man was saying. But yeah, 101, if you can give us a little bit more insight on how your beaver, or how your dog lost sight dealing with a beaver. Oh, here we go. We entered him thinking there was just a raccoon in the set, and he ended up on a beaver. Being a mute terrier, it wasn't a good situation. Okay, so being a mute terrier, you couldn't. And for those who don't know you could put it together. A mute terrier, a terrier that engages but doesn't make noise, or goes underground and doesn't really make noise, so you don't really know what's going on too much. And I'd rather a dog that's not a mute terrier, but yeah.
Beavers are silent too. They don't vocalize. They're not like Nutria. Nutria let out a big old loud scream. Beavers are like a muskrat. They're just
same
silent.
thing with coons. They'll let out that noise that we all know. And actually same thing with groundhogs. They let out like a little gargle or something. But if you have a dog that you could you hear you'll hear the certain type of noise, and you know your dog. You know that it's engaged. So
I had
yeah.
one situation where my dogs got on a real young beaver. I think it
Mhm.
was 17 pounds. So we're talking just the size of a raccoon. It was really small. Um, and I was like, what is going on in there? Because the dogs weren't making any noise except for I could hear by their breathing that they had a mouthful of fur, but there was zero sound. And I'm like, what is going on in there? And they were just chewing. And I can't remember if I had one dog at a time because I eventually send in a second. I send in Bindi because she'll retrieve whatever's in there. And I called the other dog off, but I can't remember if they started together or whether it was just one dog. Anyway, whatever ended up happening, I could just hear their breathing that they had a mouthful of fur, but it was silent. I'm like, what is going on in there? So finally, I called the one dog back and told Bindi, bring it, because Bindi will bring it to me. And she pulled
Yep.
it out, and there's a beaver. I'm like, what the heck? You guys killed a little beaver. But he was little. Like I said, he was only 17 pounds. We're like a beaver, if it's under 30 pounds, like it's just a juvenile. It's just young. In fact, even 30 pounds is not a very, like he's a young adult. They get up into more like the 40s and 50s when you consider them like a mature adult beaver. Um, and anything under 20 is straight up baby beaver, you know.
Makes sense. I mean,
But yeah, they're
that's the
just
same thing for about a coon.
silent.
That's the same thing for a coon. I mean, my Patterdale, she's about 10 and a half, 11. Like I haven't said a million times on this live, but yeah, she's been on coon, and you know she can handle like a 16-pound coon, 20 probably tops, just because the way the shape I got her in. You know what I mean? What I feed her and how I work her out. You know what I mean? But and not saying that makes a huge difference, but it does make a difference if your dog's strength is up and stamina is up. You know what I mean? When it comes to any type of work. Just my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? My opinion. But yeah, anything I wouldn't want her touching anything, 22 and up. I mean honestly, even the 20-pound coon I'd rather not, but it could happen and it has happened. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, raccoons are
yeah.
rough.
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people is like one thing we always um ask on here is the and I'm pretty sure we asked you last time as far as the ranking on as far as like earthwork, what do you rank? And there's a lot of people that even have put the groundhog when it comes to earthwork because face to face when your dog's in the ground with earthwork even higher than the coon. You know what I mean? Obviously something like the fisher or the badger is higher than all that, but yeah, the coons definitely definitely will tear your dog apart if your dog is kind of like just reckless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know in your situation in not situation, but I would say more I should say the way you hunt a reckless dog is probably definitely not something you're looking for.
Yeah, not on the small dogs. The bigger dogs could afford to be reckless when they're,
Yeah.
30 pounds or up, or even just a little under 30. But when you're down in that under 20 pounds or lower 20-pound range, it's pretty hard, pretty hard on a dog to be reckless when you're that little.
Yeah. Get good way to get yourself killed.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as the mix, last time we spoke I think you had 11, 12. Do you have more? Do you have less?
So just had a litter of 8. I've got 2 more bred females. I don't know if they took or not. Mink or not, very obvious if they take. I feel like one of them took,
Okay.
but maybe she's just a little chubby. Mink, Mink are really good at hiding it. Like I said, I've had ones that I was like, oh yeah, I think she's pregnant. Never had any, and I've had some that I was like, nah, she totally missed. The very next day, she has a big litter, not just a litter, but a big litter. Their weird long shape really can hide pregnancy. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't even look, to be honest. I do out of curiosity, but I don't take it seriously. If I look at a mink and she's just slim as a pole, I'm like, well, doesn't mean much. She might still
Yeah.
be pregnant.
Well, who knows?
But yeah, so I
So,
got one litter on the ground. It's the first inbreeding I've ever done. I've on mink. I've always, like, on anything really, but I've always avoided so far any real tight breedings,
okay.
just because I'm the only guy doing it. And so if I get my line tight, I have no one to go out to. I have to go out to an unknown, right? So it's not like you guys where you could breed your dog super super tight, and then you're like, oh, I need to out. I'll go to my buddy and breed to something unrelated. I don't have that option.
Mm-hmm.
When I breed to something unrelated, it's an unknown ancestry because no one else is hunting them. So not saying I can't go out and I don't go out. That's not true. I do, but all I know is what that individual can do. I have no
Yeah, I
idea what
definitely get
mom,
it.
dad, grandpa did. So I've tried to basically keep my line as broad as I can so that when I do, so I don't breed myself into a corner. But I finally had a mink that I felt like, you know what? I guess what I should clarify, what inspired me to do it was I did
Okay.
bring in some outside blood that have zero relation. I got some mink from a farm as babies, and I went through them and I picked the two best out of the ones I got. And these two are good, solid mink, completely unrelated to my line. It's not even a farmer I've ever gotten mink from before, so it's completely unrelated. Um, so I was trying to decide who to breed them to, and I was like, well, I've got all these guys that are loosely line bred, loosely blind bred, loosely line bred, and I'm like, you know what? I think this is the time to do a tight breeding, just so I have something to breed into that outcross that I'm going to do. So for the first time, I did a father daughter breeding. I had a male that produced, and it was already a very loosely line bred litter, so they weren't
Mm-hmm.
tight at all. They had like the same grandpa on one side and great grandpa on the other, like very very loose, but the traits were there. The traits were tight, but the genetics were loose, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And man,
Totally understand.
I couldn't get these little guys to quit. They just wouldn't quit. They had all the traits that you want in a mink. They just wouldn't quit. They were just awesome. And I was trying to pick between two sisters and I couldn't because they were both just like twins. And I was just finally, it was like, screw it. I'll breed you both and I'm going to breed you to your dad. And then I'll have those genes just locked in. I'll probably have some horrible coals in the mix. But if I could find that one little diamond in the litter, that all I need
Yeah.
is one. All I
Yep.
need is
Yep.
one male, specifically one male. Then I could take him back to these females that have zero relation, and hopefully I've accumulated, really concentrated all the right traits into one individual, and then I can put him in a complete outcross, and hopefully the traits will push through harder because they're so tightly bred.
Put in the work.
So
Sounds good, man. Hey, let's get to some of these comments real quick. And yeah, I mean, you're doing what what we do in the dog world. Hey, sounds like hey, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, and we'll bring you on here again some months to come and see how it went. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm a beginner in the Patterdale community. I'm enjoying this content. Hey, glad we can help you out. Come here to learn. Um, we talk Patterdales every Wednesday. High Horse 75. Appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. And yeah, man. If you trying to learn more about the Patterdale, this is the place to be. A lot of people don't understand a coon will often put more on your terrier than a badger because they can't dig away. Okay. Had plenty of terrier enter to badger had plenty of terrier enter to badger make contact without much damage because they dig away. Okay. And for those who don't know, 101 Kennels definitely 907 definitely knows what they're talking about when it comes to hunting with the Patterdale. check out their website. Check out their YouTube channel. Yeah, they know what they're talking about. So yeah,
I know
appreciate that insight. Again, tell a friend and tell a friend. 101, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. You guys already know what it is. What's up, Mink Man?
I know nothing about Badger, but I've heard from a couple guys who I know do. They're not like I know them, and I know they've got them. And we're talking topside big dogs, so not terriers and not underground. But they say a badger's harder to kill, but a raccoon's harder on your dog, and it's a mental thing as well as a physical. So it's not just, oh, they caused more damage. He actually almost lost a great big 85-pound dog to a badger. So I'm not trying to say badgers are pushovers. This one particular badger got in the dog's throat, which is odd. I don't know how that worked. Bottom jaw and throat. He almost lost the dog. It was a big old lurcher. It wasn't like a little terrier. We're talking 75, 85-pound dog. But anyway, so I'm not trying to say badgers are pushovers. And I'm also not trying to say I know anything. I'm just parroting what I've heard.
Yeah.
From what they say,
I'm just taking a quick note.
top side, a badger's harder to kill. They just sturdier, but they don't get in a dog's head the way a raccoon does. A good raccoon and a good badger, obviously, because you've got easy stuff, hard stuff, average stuff, right? But if you're talking average and above badger and average above coon, they say that the coon gets in your dog's head more and sometimes even causes more damage. Though the badger bites harder, the badger is harder to dispatch. The coon is more like jujitsu tricky, and it screws with your dog's head. And sure, they're not causing him as much damage when they're biting, but they're biting a lot more, and it's really hard to avoid coon
Little
damage.
savages.
There's a lot harder to avoid coon damage. Whereas if a dog, especially a big, tall dog, topside, gets a hold of a badger, right, they could just hold it out indefinitely without taking any damage. And that also comes from guys in the European badgers, which are a totally different animal, so much bigger. But if the dog gets it just right, they can hold them out and not get bit. Obviously, again, I'm talking topside and I'm talking big dogs. But with a coon, unless you've got another dog in there pulling it apart or something goofy like that, it's pretty hard to tangle with a coon and not take some heat. The way they wrap up and the way they push your dog out with their back feet and just cover up their eyes, they mess with the dog's head as much as they hurt their face, if not more than they hurt their face.
I agree.
That's all hearsay. Again, I don't know crap about the subject. That's just what I've heard.
Hey, you got your opinion, man. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Jamie Park, good evening, gentlemen. 101, I agree with Mink Man. On that, he's spot on. Jamie, what's up, Pop? Yes. We got a lot of family in here.
Florida?
Yes, that is Sir Jamie from Florida. My white uncle. He's not my only white uncle though. I got half my family's white, but life is life. But yeah, that's my white uncle from Florida. And if you can't tell, he's very close with 101 Kennels, and he calls him Pops, so they call him Pops over there. Good evening, my son. I'm here to learn. Hey, we're all here to learn. And Jamie, I always tell you, and I got much respect for you, and I've been learning from you, and yeah, pretty sure you could we could all learn from you tonight. So any comments would help. Like, come subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. So as far as your latest hunts with your Patterdales, how's is anyone, I know, actually I'm not gonna ask that because I know none of them keeping up with Bendy.
Yeah, no, that's not a fair comparison. I don't. I'm thinking her daughter will, and probably some of her sons. They're such freaking naturals. They're so smart. They're so athletic. I think her daughter and her sons could very easily surpass her, especially because we've got like 4 to choose from. Right, one of them's going to be better than her. But outside of that, man, it's hard to find a dog that can compete with her on ratting. And then even coons, man. I mean, she's not a coon hound. She's just a pure pit bull, but man, she will track and she will tree. I got some cool footage, man. You guys, you got to get on my exclusive club if you're not. I got some cool footage this last couple of weeks of her tracking a coon where you could see. Usually you don't see anything, right? You're just like following a screen, looking at your GPS, listening to crunches in the bushes. But I actually got some footage where you could see the coon run, and then you could see Bindi right on its trail. And it was funny because one time the coon ran and she got down on the canal and she run up, almost got to the trail. And she's like, I can't smell it, went back. And I'm like, what are you doing, you dumb dog? You were right about to get on its trail. And then all of a sudden you hear her coming through the bushes, and she was just step for step walking where it walked. But before, she didn't know she was about to cross its trail, right? She had no idea. So she turned around. But it's like, dude, she's not just getting lucky. She's following step for step where that coon goes. And she'll work it into the ground until it either gets caught or treed. And it's impressive because she has no breeding for nose whatsoever. It's all bred for the box, and she's putting those genetics to do a totally different job, and she's doing fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah.
One night, I hate you guys are gonna think you're gonna get so sick of hearing about Bindi. Like, don't bring that stupid MINK guy on. All he does is talk about his pit bull. But there's one night we were out with a bunch of boys, and they had their dogs down. And I left Bindi home because she was all chewed up from, the night before and the night before that and the night before that. We'd been going crazy for a couple nights in a row. It's like, I got to leave Bindi home. She needs to rest. So I left her home, and we go out with these boys, and they get their dogs on a coon, and it's down in a hole. And their dogs just can't get it out. It's where it's at. There's just a big bramble, just a thick brambles. And then a hole going straight into a hill, and the hill's like almost straight up. So you can't really dig it because you're going to get caved in and kill yourself, right? It's soft dirt on an almost vertical incline, and you can't come above and come down because then you're digging through like flipping like 20 feet of dirt or whatever. And it's just going to collapse. Anyway, there was no digging this out. We had to draw it out. And their dogs, and it was shallow. It wasn't like the hole didn't go like 30 feet in the hill or nothing like that. It was pretty straightforward, but the dogs just couldn't draw it. And they, let's try this dog, let's try that dog, let's try that. Oh, we can't. Let's try both dogs at the same time. Nothing was working, and I was like, "Do I need to go get Bindi?" And he's like, "You need to go get Bindi." And so I drove home. I just left him there. Like, I'll drive as fast as I can. So I drive home. And fortunately, a lot of my spots are not that far from home. It was only like 15 minutes or whatever. So I drive home, but I mean, dude's got to wait there half an hour trying with his dogs while I'm gone, So I get back, and they're still trying, and it's still in the hole. And so I'm like, okay, Bindi, where is it? And she jumps out of the truck, flies up the hill, shoots down the hole, jerks the coon out of the hole. And while she's jerking the coon out, another one pops out behind it, and it runs off. And his dogs are still loose. So that how many dogs he had, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever it was. They all pile in on the same coon with Bindi, and they kill it. And we're just sitting around talking, and we just ignored the other coon. We're like, it's long gone. It'll probably like cross some fence. We can't follow it or something, or get down to some
coon walked back.
Yeah, there's no way we're getting that coon. We forgot it. Out of sight, out of mind. We're watching the coon we caught. Well, it wasn't out of Bindi's mind. She got done killing that coon. All the other dogs are, they're off the coon and just kind of walking around, not doing anything. And she sticks her nose to the ground and takes off. And I'm like, what are you doing, dog? You're supposed to be resting. And here I am. I got you on a coon. Now you're off tracking this other coon. You're not going to find that coon. I'm like, it's crossed some fence or disappeared somewhere we can't follow it. Okay, whatever.
At least went high up in the tree like a smart coon.
Yeah, it's gone somewhere we can't get it. But I'm like, I'll humor you and follow you. And so we're just following her along, and we're not taking it serious at all. Like I said, this track's going to end somewhere we can't follow, and it'll be gone. And she's going along. All of a sudden, she winds up into another thicket of brambles, and I'm like, I saw eyes. I'm like, Oh, dude, no way. She found it. And she gets up there, and she's the only dog. All the other dogs are still back, like mauling the dead coon or goofing.
Loitering.
And
They're
she's the
just
only one that
loitering.
stuck her nose to the ground, followed that coon, found it. Pretty soon they all join in because they hear the squalling. But yeah, she's a fun dog. She's better than she should be, really.
Hey, she sounds great. She sounds great. We're gonna have to talk about it later.
But
But
yeah, so as
how
far
was
as
your now
sorry,
you
go ahead.
say you do the I am not say I know you do it and I watch your videos. How is your little Patterdale on the muskrats? Have you used in the muskrats holes or
It's rare. I usually just use the mink for that. So
because the water part of it?
yeah, there's no real reason, and they don't fit. Most of the time, they can't squeeze into a muskrat hole unless it's a real old big one, and the hole's just been worn out enough that they can fit. So yeah, or some coon's been digging in it or something to widen it. So yeah, I don't usually use the terriers on the muskrats. It's happenstance. So when it usually happens is a, a muskrat will go in a beaver den,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll dig his own little side tunnel. And so we're dropping the terriers to bolt a beaver or see if there's a coon in there or whatever, and they end
Mm-hmm.
up on a muskrat. That's usually how it happens. And then once they're in there, then we got to use the beeper, figure out okay where they're at, dig down, and because they usually can't follow the muskrat all the way through, so they go as far as they can, dig and then squeeze in, and then they get it bayed up or it bolts, whichever, and then we dig down if they're bayed up. Um, but that's a rare moment. It's not a something I do on the reg. It's usually hey, let's pull the dog out, put the mink in, or we don't even have the dog out to begin with. We know it's a muskrat and we're just using mink.
All
But
right, this is a question that we've been talking about or conversating about in the last couple of weeks on the Live Your Life Dogs channel. Um, and I know you did all type of hunting, so not really like the ratting, I would say, but as far as like even the minks, or you were saying how Bendy tracked down the coon, um, or like you got a Patterdale who go in the hole, and do you like the fight more or the hunt more? Like, do you like the tracking part? Like, do you went like so? Okay, we'll just and I know this is Patterdale talk and Bendy's a pit bull, but it's all good. We're gonna like I said, it always could go anywhere. Um, like Bendy, do you like the tracking part more when she got that nose to the ground and she's tracking and she's looking for it? Is that more the excitement, or is it more the excitement for you when she finds it and takes care of business?
I would say the track. So I enjoy it more, and I see it as more valuable. So from a logical and an emotional standpoint. Now, obviously, I don't love it to the point where I've got coonhounds and Droghars and dogs that are bred for it. So obviously, if they could track a coon all day but they can't shut it down, it's I mean, to me that's kind of like having a delicious pie and you can't eat it. It's like, well, that's a wonderful pie, and it smells great, but geez, I want to eat that pie, not just smell it and look at it.
So
So
I asked you
I really
I
feel like
probably
you
asked
need
you this
both.
last time. I don't remember what you said, to be honest. Respectfully, is it so
But
nose or mouth?
I would say nose, and here's why: because you can't kill a coon you can't find. Like if I have to find the raccoon for you, you're not much of a dog.
I'm only laughing because this conversation been probably going on. Not conversation, but this question been kind of like a question that's been going on for months now, maybe even like a year now. And
And
yeah, it's
here's
kind
what
of been a thing where some people is like nose and mouth. And we always say, we everyone always agrees that you rather have 50-50. You know what I mean?
oh,
If you
for
could get
sure.
50-50, that's the best. But there's some people who agree with the nose, where it's like, okay, you can't catch them if you can't find them. then there's other people who say yeah, the nose is good, but even if you what's the nose if you could find them but can't catch them.
Yeah, I totally agree with both,
You
though.
know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
having said that, I mean, if you were to ask me, do you want a dog who can track it or a dog who could kill it? I'm just going to say both. I'm not going to be satisfied with either. If I've got a dog who can track all day, find every single coon, bay it up, tree it up, but if I have to kill it for him, I'm as unsatisfied as I could be. If I've got a dog who can't find a dang coon, I gotta like spotlight it for him and show him, look, it's right here, or go find a hole that has one. Hey, look, it's right here. I'm as unsatisfied as, yeah, it's just I got to do both. Like I've got to have both for me. But I say no's, but I really can't. Okay, so the reason I say no's, let me tell you why I answered the way
Crazy
I did.
question. Yep.
Bindi was pregnant and then raising pups for what is that, like 4 months? She was off. I don't even know what the time period was, but let's just say 4 months. She had 4 months where I couldn't hunt her, and I had to go out with my buddy who has a pit bull too that cannot track, you cannot find. She's not. I mean, she'll lose it in 10 feet. Like she is not a useful dog in that arena. But she's a
more
killing
like
son
a
of a
regular
gun.
pit bull.
She's a killing son of a gun, but she cannot find one unless it's like really straightforward. And I mean, I shouldn't say she can't. She can find a coon, but it's got to be very straightforward. You got to basically hand it to her on a silver platter. And then I got another buddy who's got a stag hound, and he's even worse. He makes that pit bull look like a bloodhound. He will do some basic winding and be like, I smell one over there. That's the closest you could get to him tracking. And I was stuck hunting with those two dogs because Bindi was down pregnant. And I'd go out with my buddies and we would call coons in because we couldn't figure out any other way. It was summertime, so we don't have a season here. So we hunt raccoons year round. It was summertime, so there's leaves on the trees, spotlighting coons when there's leaves and on the trees and grass growing high is painfully useless. I mean, unless you get out into some farmers' fields where they've got it like cut down, I mean, you just can't see anything. The coon will be sitting right there, and you're shining it right in the eyes, and all they got to do is close their eyes or look the other way. You can't see them, or even shine back at you, but the leaves are blocking the glow. Anyway, long story short, so we started experimenting with calling coons. Have you ever seen that where the guys sit out there? They usually shotgun them. They're not usually dogging them, but they'll sit out there. They'll have their Fox Pro and they're,
or they have that little Fox Pro, the little shit that sits out there with the tail wag and makes noise, and then when it runs up to, which is it crazy because it seems like it works like great. It seems like it works.
The videos make it look way better than it really is.
But you always say what I'm about to say. At the same time, it's just like sports when you see the highlights. You can see a highlight of a player and it look great, and you're seeing the highlights, and then you go see a game and they're just not that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They take a 30-minute game and they put it into 30 seconds of
30-minute game. They take 5 games and put it into a 2-minute. You know what I mean? And I'm a coach only because I know that. You know what I mean? They take 5 games and they'll put it into a 2-minute clip, 2-minute promo clip, or whatever you want to call it, advertisement, whatever you would like to say, and highlight. We should say, I guess, in sports, and someone will look great, and it's like, no, that's
And to be fair, maybe we were doing it wrong or the wrong season. It's not like we had it worked out and we've done it for years. Anytime you've only done something for months, you really are just barely touching the surface of figuring something out. So anyway, we did it for those months, and I was just frustrated as heck. We killed some coons, but I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to just kill coons. If I wanted to just kill coons, I could go set some traps and be extra lame, right? Set some traps and drop your dogs on them or something lame like that. I want to see the dog working, finding, treeing, You know, I'm not just
You want
saying.
to see the whole aspect of hunting, everything
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
It's not like a pit fight. I'm not
See it
just like,
and feel
oh,
it.
let's
Yeah.
just watch them brawl and see who wins. Well, I mean, that's just for me. I like the hunt, but then again, like, hey, if you were to give me a dog, some dog that was, coonhound, let's say, you give me some Walker Hound or Blue Tick Hound or Cur or whatever, I think I'd be just as dissatisfied because yeah, my dog's finding all day long, but I knock it out of the tree and he just lets it go because it bit him. I don't know. So really, I'd be frustrated either way. I'd be dissatisfied and thoroughly frustrated either way. If I got a dog who kills but won't find or finds but won't kill, I'm going to be
Yeah,
frustrated either way.
definitely. Definitely, it's either way. All right, let's get
It's
back
like
to some of
asking, do
these
you want food or
comments.
water? Do you want food or water? Well, I want both. I'll die of starvation on water. I'll die of thirst on food. I want both.
Yeah, pretty. I understand that. That's a good way to put it. I have a question for the board. I've been looking. I've been looking at videos of Patterdales going to ground in the USA, and mostly all of them have smooth coat. Ones that are really putting in work. Yeah. And again, I'm no expert on that situation, or I'm not expert on nothing. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of the smooth coat. There's more in America. I would say maybe because the ones overseas have more of the original felt terrier in them. Just to be honest, and because I don't know what happened or when it happened, and that's actually, let me write this down real quick. That's a good note, real quick. High horse.
Hey, let me be back. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Yep, you're good. You're good. So, yes, and that's something that's not like that's not high horse. That's not I didn't that's not something that's obviously something that you noticed. Yeah, but I noticed it, everyone noticed it. And people, there's probably someone like Jamie Park or maybe 101 Kennels or cut up Kennels Biggs that might know the answer to this. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the more American ones, I would say more maybe because the overseas ones have more of the original like Fel Terrier in them, that where the Patterdale comes from. Um, which a Patterdale is just a Fel Terrier. I don't know when the coat got smooth and why the coat got smooth. I know there's it would probably, I know a lot of it has to do with I would think, not I know, I would think a lot of it has to do with Mason, because if you look back into any pedigree that is in the United States as far as the Patterdales, even if you look at a pedigree now that might not show any Mason, if you look a little further back, there's Mason in it. So I don't know, that's maybe a question I might have to ask him. Um, but yeah, I don't know why and when the Patterdale got to the USA, the coat got smoother. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the Patterdales in the USA, most of them, 90% of them, pretty much, and the ones that don't, uh, pretty much their parents are like right up from overseas. So yeah, you're right. A lot of them have the smooth coat. I'm not sure why that like kind of switched over, kind of as hard as it did. But yeah, again, we love our Patterdales over here. Rough, smooth coat in the middle.
Yeah,
My girl
it's
Sin, hers
interesting.
is kind of middle. What was you gonna say?
It's interesting you mentioned that most of the ones that have more of a coat are imported. I have a buddy I actually already mentioned his dogs, the pit pat crosses that he has. They're most of them, or at least half, I would say over half,
Yep.
have a thick wire coat, and they're half pit bull. And he's got them like 2-3 generations in, so they're not like first generation half and half. But the pat that they come from is imported. It's an Irish pat.
And that's I don't know.
It's a line of Irish pats or something, but they're all imported, and even being half pit bull, they've got thick.
Sometimes I don't know when the smooth coat, and that's probably something. I mean, that's probably we got to dig deep, and I got to talk to my friend Robert Booth or my friend Mason or my friends over at 101 and see why maybe that switched over. So there's my friends over at Cut Up, as far as I should say Cut Up as far as Biggs, because he's the runner of Cut Up and he might know something like that. But yeah, I'm not but let's get to these comments because I think we got some answers to these comments. I don't see many videos of wide coats and rough coat ones in the earth and the States, and you're right. But we're talking about now. I'm coming back from digging in Ohio. As I write this, I bought 5 terriers, 2 broken, smoothish, and 3 fell terrier types, longer coats. Okay, and 3 fell types, longer coats.
Hey, what were you digging in Idaho? Idaho's really close to me. What were you digging? Just out of curiosity. I'm guessing badgers. That's the only thing I could think of because our rock trucks.
Yeah, he was digging badgers, but he's gonna leave. I'm pretty sure he's gonna answer you in the comments, McMahon. But
it's too bad I didn't know that.
I'm like 98% sure he was digging badger. Okay, I got you. I didn't want to ask no crazy questions. Low, I have seen one. That's not a crazy question at all, bro. When it comes to the Patterdale world, not at all, not at all. I started off with Nuddle, very smooth coat. Okay, so Nuddle, and this is why I say I'm no expert on none of that, because Nuddle is overseas, is a bloodline from overseas, and Jamie Park knows a lot more from me, legend in the Patterdale world, yeah. So I guess Nuddle. Okay, so we're gonna dig into it, but Nuddle had the smooth coat, and somewhere down the line, yeah. So we're gonna dig into it. That's what we're here for. We're all learning together. That's what we're here for. That's what this whole thing is here for. So this whole Wednesday night Patterdale Talk. Now I have them smooth coat, deadlock wearing. Okay, yeah. Dreadlock wearing. That's funny, man. Here you go, Jamie. We were digging badger. Yeah, he was digging badger. McMahon.
That'd be fun.
Would love to get to meet you, McMahon. I was sharing your video with one of my guys that works for me, and he was interested in ferrets. Love your work. Yeah, that's from 101, and yeah, 101 is they're definitely got some top of the line Patterdales, and definitely doing their thing, and my opinion, one of the big heads when it comes to the Patterdale world in the USA for sure. So yeah, you guys should definitely get to know each other. In 101, they're people, they got they got a whole bunch of workers, or I don't want to say workers, but members of the 101 kennels. But yeah, they definitely travel state to state and hunt. So that's definitely something you guys could probably
let's
do together.
Let's connect. Are you? And there's a chance I've already chatted with you in the past and I've forgotten. So I, in advance, apologize if that's the case. I run into so many people who hit me up.
If not, I'll connect y'all on Facebook tomorrow.
Yeah, let's connect on Facebook and chat it up.
Yeah, if not, I already know what you was about to say. So yeah, if you guys are not already connected,
yeah, And
I
if
will
we are
connect
and
you
I've
guys
forgotten,
on Facebook tomorrow.
if we are and I've forgotten, I very much apologize, because I run into so many people that it happens, or I'll even have detailed conversations and then not talk to someone for 2 or 3 years, and I totally forgot. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, we've already talked. I've literally seen someone comment
Well,
online. I'm
2 or
like,
3 years makes sense.
I need to reach out to that guy. He's got something I'm interested in or whatever. I'll go to message him, and I've got this huge past history of talking with the guy. I'm like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I know this guy. But yeah,
That's how it goes. It has happened.
It's happened to me more times than I care to admit.
But I will connect you guys tomorrow on Facebook. So,
Sounds
and
good.
you know Mink Man from the past. If I told you I'm gonna do it, I've done it. But yeah. Oh, we've never had a chance to speak, but I've been a fan of your work. we come back to Ohio in the fall. Maybe we can link up then.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully I'm busy, so sometimes I just can't get away, but then there's other times when I'm very flexible. So just depend on timing. Hopefully we can make it work. That would be awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I connect you guys, and maybe you guys. It's always easier to set up something, if you know months ahead of time. So
yeah. And if I'm not free to break away, you're always welcome to come with me. I'm very open to having people go out with me, see what I'm already doing. It's just sometimes I can't break away from what I'm doing, but what I'm doing already is usually pretty interesting. So whether I'm hunting muskrats with a mink, whether I'm ratting with the mink and dogs, whether I'm chasing beavers out of holes, whether I'm catching raccoons in the reeds, I'm always doing something.
When did you say you was going out to Illinois?
The end of June through the first part of July.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be doing family stuff then, so I don't want to commit too hard, because I'm traveling all that way out there to see family. If I just disappear and hunt, that's kind of a jerk move. But definitely, I love when I'm already out somewhere to take the opportunity to be like, hey, let's go do something I don't normally do, like digging groundhogs, something I don't have experience doing, or something I've done, but I just can't do all the time, because of location.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome, man. We'll be working a few of the Wookiees up in the Northeast this year. I'm curious to see how the longer hair works out underground. I'm used to the smooth coat. Okay. And
I've heard rumors, again, do not, this isn't coming from me. This is me just parroting what I've heard. I've heard rumors the coat actually gives it so that they could wriggle a little better. They don't get bound up.
The smooth?
The having a coat, it gives them a layer between their skin and the earth, so that for one, it protects them. It gives them protection. We all know that from thorns and things like that. But underground, apparently, it makes it so they don't get stuck as easy. Again, that's total hearsay. It might be bullcrap.
Yeah.
I've heard someone say it. Whether it's true or not, let us know.
I have a full look at them. For those I'm used to the smooth. Do your Wookiees now Jamie Park? For those who don't know who the Wookiees are the and again, I appreciate everyone for locking in with us tonight. We're all here to learn. We all love dogs. But for those who don't know who the Wookiees are half Patterdale, half Yag Terrier. And that is something that Jamie calls them, Mr. Jamie Park, 5529. And it's a great mix. And he's doing his thing with them, and he calls them Wookiees. And
that's cool. I've seen a couple, and I've really liked what I've seen, but it's so few and far between. I can't really say whether they were the norm or they're an outlier. But I've always been curious about that cross, because a lot of the Yogs are a little bigger than what I'd hoped for, but they've got traits that. Anyway, I've always been curious about that, so I'll have to look into those.
Yeah, Yeah, Jamie Park definitely. He's been doing it for a little while as far as the Wookiees, as far as mixing them two dogs together. Give me 1 sec, 1 sec. Let's see what this dog's doing. Oh, back 1 sec.
Yeah, one thing I've always wished is my Pats had more coat because we'll get them in some wet, cold conditions, and a small body and a short coat leads to hypothermia really quick. And even had a dog once get straight up pneumonia, and that short little coat combined with a small body, they really get chilled fast.
Hey, just how we were talking. So I have my Piccolo back, and he was kind of acting wild, and yeah, there's a couple of little cracks in the fence where he could see what's going on the street, and yeah, there was a skunk walking by. So
I
good thing he couldn't get to that.
hate skunks.
Nice fat, huge skunk too. I
You should
just
you should have run out
I
there
haven't
with a,
seen it
you should have run out there with a rock. And I hate skunks so
yet.
bad.
Yeah, I hate him for what's crazy is something about my street. That's what I've seen most over the years. Sucks, but yeah, there was a lady one well not there was a lady, she's still there, but there was like a skunk family under her porch years ago, but it was like, she's like an older lady, so she probably goes to bed at 8, wakes up at 5, 6. So the skunks were probably really no problem to her because you know what I mean, she's sleep when they're awake. But yeah, she didn't wanna, it was like a big three thing with one of my neighbors. They were, like, calling animal control and told her they were gonna call, and she didn't want to. She just wanted to let them live, but it was like, they're stinking up the street, so it was crazy, but hey, they might be back. They might be back. And that's another thing, as far as, like, skunks, I don't know if, one-on-one, Jamie, you guys might have dealt with as far as the skunks and I've never dealt with it as far as skunks killing a dog or damaging a dog um underground. Make man, have you ever dealt with or experienced any thing where like you had a dog that was sick or died from just taking too much skunk spraying?
Nothing life threatening, but scared me. I thought I lost a dog. Um,
That's Tell us
Literally,
about it.
we couldn't dig to it. Where it was one of those situations I was describing. This one actually was a vertical cliff,
Hmm.
and the dog dug in, so you can't dig in, or else it just collapse on you and kill you. Um, and then you get above, and you're like digging 20 feet down, right next to a cliff. So once again, it's going to collapse on you. So it's just a stupid situation that we shouldn't have been in.
Yep.
And I smelled that skunk, and I was like, oh no, and couldn't get the dog out. Couldn't get the dog out. And I finally was just like, dude, I think she's dead. We start packing up our things. Here comes the dog. Then I feel like a total piece of crap because I gave up on the dog and he didn't even die. And she ended up being fine. She was just sick, but
Mm.
honestly, by morning, you couldn't tell anything was wrong. So it wasn't anything life threatening at all. But I felt like the biggest piece of crap in the world because here I am packing up my stuff, giving up on my dog, and she wasn't even close to dead. I'm like, you piece of crap, Kurt, quitting on your dog like that. But anyway, it
You
ended
said
well.
you
That was
piece of crap, Kerr,
yeah,
calling
me.
yourself that.
I'm
Yeah,
the
as a
Kurt.
handler.
I packed up and called it a dead dog, and she was
Hey,
totally fine.
eh,
But
eh,
it was bad. I mean, that's I mean, it was coming out of the hole like crazy, and we couldn't see her
yeah,
or
that
hear
stench
her.
is no bullshit. I had a pit bull that snatched up a coon probably shit years ago now, probably like 15 plus 16 plus years ago now. But Yeah, he was in the backyard. He was actually a dog that like kind of like stayed in the house, like protection type thing, because the area I lived in, and yeah, he was out back for about a month and a half, 2 months, just because this even everything I did, the smell wasn't going away. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the smell is bad. I I hate that it's such a risk underground. I've been
Jamie
sprayed.
Park said he's haven't seen skunk in 30 years.
I had a
But
dog grab a skunk
wherever
and
you're at, they killed them all, Jamie.
I had a dog grab a skunk and shake it and literally just plastered my face in their spray just
Oh shit!
because the dog's shaking it right at me. It was in a shed, and I opened up the door and the dog grabbed it right there, and I'm right there and just blah, 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 and covered me in spray. Like it was to the point where the spray was coming out in globs, not a mist. It was chunks because it was just letting everything loose because the dog had it, and it came out in chunks. It hit me with like it was like someone blew their nose on you, just chunks of it hitting you. It was gross.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
But at that point, I didn't care. I was like, dude, I'm so covered in it. So I literally went through the shed and found the rest of the skunks and just whacked them in my hand. I was like, dude, I'm not going to stink any worse than I already stink now.
Oh, you're crazy. I would have been out of there.
I mean, it's not going to get any worse.
Yeah. It makes sense.
So I
It makes
literally was
sense.
reaching in, grabbing them by their tails and popping them on the head, piled them up. Man, I'm going to kill every skunk in this shed, and I'm not going to ask my dog to do it either because I don't want her to learn to do it on purpose.
I get it, man. That's crazy though. But I definitely get it. I'm not gonna get it worse from here, so why not? Why not?
Another funny skunk story. My buddy, we were at a mink farm, and they wanted us to get rid of the skunks, and we were catching other pests that were on the farm, eating the mink food, raccoons, and all kinds of stuff. I won't mention all the species because of anyway. But one of the things they wanted us to get rid of was skunks, and we obviously don't let the dogs get those on purpose. And my buddy saw a skunk, and he picked up a big rock or a cinder block or something, and he had it over his head, and he was going to throw it at the skunk, and he tripped, and the weight up high and him stumbling made him just fall, and he landed like point blank to the skunk's butt, and it just unloaded on his face.
Just sprayed him.
And he did the exact same thing. He just stood up, grabbed it by the tail. I'm already stinky. You can't make me any worse. And the rest of the night, he was just anytime he saw a skunk, he'd just stomp it. He was like, dude, I'm not going to stink any worse than I stink now.
Yeah.
He ran around stomping every skunk we saw. We didn't have to throw rocks at him or shoot him, or he just run over there and stomp.
I mean, I respect it. I don't know if I would do that. You know what I mean? I probably would at the time because you're aggravated and pissed off and stinky at that point. So fuck it.
I still can't
So I
believe he
understand.
felt just right because he stumbled a few steps. It wasn't like he just fell flat on his face. He stumbled several steps, and by the time he went down, it was just point blank. Boom, just, and of course his face was like he couldn't have like fallen with his face pointing the other way. No, it was just like I was like, man.
All right, let's get worse, man. I hate skunk. Let's get back to these comments real quick. Jamie Parker, I haven't seen skunks in years. I had Mr. Murdoch save one of my dogs from skunks in the ground. Then I had to turn around and get on the commercial flight.
Oh no.
How'd he save it? How'd he save it? How'd he save it? That's what we interested. How he save it 1-on-1. That was in Michigan. We hit the skunk. We hit skunks also in Ohio with my chef dog. He almost passed away. Damn, man, these fucking skunks, man. They make the dog's white blood cells burst. Yeah. They make the dog's white blood cells burst if they are in ground with them. Yeah, if they're in ground with too long, that smell, that's exactly what it does. Woods. When I was at the show with you up north, I smell like you've been around skunk. Here you go, man. Jamie Park. No, that wasn't us. That was you. You brought it with you from where you came from. But actually, you said you haven't seen skunk in 30 years, so I guess not. But that wasn't us, man. Something must have sprayed, bro. We use soap over here, bro. That's y'all in Florida, all sweaty all year. Y'all are sweating all year in Florida, sweaty. Mink man. But yeah, we've been on there what, an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 36 minutes. You wanna 30? I'm energized. I got time. You wanna get into anything else?
No, I guess I could talk a little more on the mink. I haven't talked too much mink.
Let's
Um,
talk about it.
so the mink, I've got the best mink I've ever had right now. His name's Spark, and he is solid. I cannot get him to quit. Which, I mean, he's a mink. I know that's like, oh yeah, dogs aren't supposed to quit, but no, mink are supposed to quit. They're a wild animal, and he's been
Ooh,
bit
I like
and
that.
had some good slices on him, which mink don't normally get bit. They're not like dogs where they get hit every time they grab something. I mean, that's obviously not, that's just a bit of an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. It's so common with a dog that you're like, oh, he didn't get bit. That's interesting. With a mink, it's rare for them to have an actual physical mark that shows, hey, th- this guy got bit by a muskrat or a squirrel or whatever he caught. That's uncommon. You can go an entire season and not have a single visible mark that the mink was bitten. And this sucker, man, he got bit a couple different times this last season. Never slowed him down. He and like I said, I've had mink that were solid until they had that bad bite, and then either they quit completely or they have a period of time where they're nervous or they'll half quit. Now they'll only take easy muskrats, things like that. And this boy, he took some bad hits this spring, and he or not spring. Oh, I said spring, but this year, this last season, and man, he doesn't know to quit. He went in and got bit real bad by a muskrat. It split his head open, and he killed the son of a gun. And then he come out of the hole with a split head and chased down a second muskrat that was in the same burrow and killed it. So he not only killed the muskrat that bit him, which again, I know terrier guys are like, well, yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. No, these are wild carnivores. Wild carnivores are all about self-preservation. They're not bred to be gritty or game or whatever you want to call it. They are bred to survive. And if you get bit, you might not survive. You might get an infection or be unable to hunt or whatever. So it is in their nature to quit when there's an actual real risk. I mean, sure, they look super bold on the videos and such, but the reality is they're just really good at avoiding getting bitten. They're just amazing experts at getting themselves into dangerous situations and never taking a hit. Well, this old boy now, he's had several hits. Like I said, the one time he got his head split open, and he not only killed the muskrat that split his head, he went and killed that muskrat's den mate. Got both of them. He wasn't backing down. He went in. He got bit, and I actually forgot. I was going to give him some time to heal up, and forgot. Went out the next day and let him go. And he went into a hole, tooth to tooth, grabbed that muskrat by the nose, and fought him. Just held him by the nose, and he was healing currently from the day before.
Okay.
He's just solid mink. There's never been that I'm aware of a muskrat that's whooped him. He's killed every single one. And I don't know that I have another mink I could say that about. Well, his great grandpa I could say that about, but it's not common. It's not common. And but the best thing is it's not just that. Just because he's gritty, he could be useless in other ways, but he's not. He's fast, he's smart, he's easy to work with. He'll bring it back after he kills it, which is really hard. He's just like the ideal all-around mink. And then I repeated the breeding, and I got that litter that I told you about where I couldn't get one of them to quit. They were all just solid. And I couldn't even decide which one to breed. I'm like, I don't know. They're all freaking good. I'll just breed both of them, female-wise. So anyway, so I've got that repeat breeding of him, Spark, his mom to his dad, and then his dad to his sisters. And those are the 3 breedings I'm waiting on. So I've got one on the ground that's his mom to his sister to his dad, excuse me. And then 2 waiting. That's the repeat. Is the exact same thing, sister to dad, and then his mom to his dad. So, man, if all 3 of these litters happen, I don't know who I'm going to raise this spring because I have to pick one. Not just one litter, but like I have to pick one individual mink because if I want it to be friendly, I got to get it before it weans and feed it a bottle and all that. And you don't know anything about them when they're that little. So, man, I'm going to have a really, if all 3 took and have male kits, I'm going to have a really hard time picking who I raise this year. But yeah, I'm excited. It's a great problem to have. No, of course, I don't know.
I was just about to say it's better. It's a great problem to have. Better than not to have that problem and trying to do what you're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In Bindy's litter, I was set on only a female, and I was lucky that there was only one female because watching these brothers, all of them grow up, like if I was the opposite and wanting a male and I had to pick out of those 4 males, I don't know which one I would have picked. They're all so freaking likable and good. And so I was lucky that time it was chosen for me. But I already know, even if I don't have another baby hit the ground, assuming they all make it to weaning age, I've got 4 males in the litter that I've had. So I'm like, geez, even if I don't have a single other one to choose from, I still got to pick between 4. So yeah, like you said, it's a good problem to have.
But great problem to have.
I was thinking on that nose to nose versus what how did you word that?
Nose to mouth.
Nose to mouth. I was thinking about that, and I was like, I was you know, while you were talking about other things, I was like, what do I really think about that? Because honestly, it's both. Like I said, do you want food or water? Do you want to die of hunger or thirst? You know, I want both. But I feel like I am the most proud of my dog and the most excited about my dog after a long, tricky or difficult track, a location where she just tracked it. For example, the other night, her feet were sore. She'd been running the canal. We left her in the truck and we just tried spotlighting. And we're driving a canal, so it's pretty uniform job. Like the raccoons are going to be right here. We're going to shine them or we won't. We drove 12 miles and saw 2 coons, or not saw, sorry, caught 2 coons. We saw a couple of others that got away. And the last 2 miles, I was like, okay, let's put her on the ground and let her actually like see if she will detect them running down the canal. So it's a way that we hunt. I don't always hunt her this way. This is just a specific pest control job that I'm doing where I follow her. It's kind of like what the hound guys call rigging, except instead of riding in the truck, she's running on the ground and we're following her in the truck. So basically she's rigging on foot. And we had less than 2 miles left and she had 3 coons, 1 in a tree, 2 on the ground. And we just spent 12 miles driving down the canal to only get 2. And it's just like, man, that dog can find them. Do you know how many we drove past in that 12 miles? I have no idea. I wish I knew. You know, I guarantee you, because out of those 3 she found,
yeah, definitely plenty.
2 of them we never would have seen. One was up a giant tree on the backside. Whether he started there or whether he ran to the tree, we have no idea. All we know is she treed it. Whether she pushed it up the tree, whether we pushed it up the tree driving, whether it was just in the tree by itself, we have no idea. Never would have seen that coon on the backside of a big giant tree. The other one was in some thick old stuff we never would have seen. It's like, man, how many did we pass because we didn't have her running? And then, like I said, like when I'm the most excited and most proud of her, it's after some track that was just difficult or long, or I'm sure I probably told you last time the coon that treed 5 or 6 times, whatever it was, before she caught it on the ground. I'm sure I told you that story. That's a favorite story of mine. But man, I was prouder after that night where she followed that coon. I told you that, right? Where she treated 5 different times.
Yep. You told me that.
You remember that story? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I was more proud of her, and I brag that story, tell that story all the time over any like, oh yeah, she pulled this one out of a hole and killed it, and I was proud of her for doing it for sure. But like the thing that gets me going is when there is the long track, the difficult locate, the tricky
So you would
trail.
say a lot of dogs can kill, a lot of dogs can't track though.
Yeah, but a lot of dogs can't kill too.
Okay.
I mean, there's you know how many guys put videos online or pictures online that it's total bullcrap. They stepped on that coon, or they stabbed that coon, or they had 2 or
Oh
3 deaths
yeah,
on that
I
coon.
seen a video the other day of a I think it was a Yag Terrier on badger, but obviously the badger was dead already.
Yeah. I think it's probably harder to find a small dog that could dispatch a coon, like small meaning like under 40 pounds or even under 35 pounds. I think it's harder probably to find a dog that consistently kill every coon, not just the easy ones, not just the average, every coon. I think that's probably harder than finding a dog that'll track a coon. So I mean, man, it's seriously, you're asking me to pick between food and water. I don't know. What am I most proud of? When she does a cool track. But what would I be most disappointed in? My dog just like letting one go, be like, oh, it's too hard. You know?
And I've seen that. I think we spoke about that last time, and that's something I've seen where with obviously in the Patterdale, where the dog could track, like it knew game was down there, and it would find it, and it might get a hold of it at some point, but for some reason it would let go, or the groundhog was able to pull off, or whatever the situation was. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, man, it's food and water. What am I get most excited about? It's when she does a cool track. What would I be most disappointed of if she just quit and let one get away? So I don't know, man. Food or water? What do you want? Food or water? I just give you a bullet.
one-on-one says he turned to Superman and started throwing everything and shoved his arms into the ground, in the ground, and got in the dog in record and got and I got to the dog in record time. I was pretty green. I was okay. I was pretty green then. Okay.
Yeah, that's the skunk story is what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yep. How do you break your terriers on mink?
So all my dogs, if you start with one when it's young, it's usually pretty easy. But I would say most of my dogs, especially terriers, I get as a either very old pup or a young dog. Some I've gotten as fully mature dogs. I've gotten 4-year-old, 3.5-year-old dogs. But I usually try to get them at like 1.5 to 9 months. That's like kind of what I would prefer. And so what I do is you've got to have a combination of enough positive and enough negative. If you just focus on, don't, you'll have one of 2 options. The dog can react of 1 of 2 ways. Well, actually, 1 of 3 ways. You get lucky and it works, right? You just beat or shock or whatever the dog into submission and they stop attacking the mink, right? That might happen. But you've got 2 other negative potential outcomes, which is the dog shuts down completely and now won't go after anything because they're scared you're going to get after them or shock them or whatever you've been doing to make them stop. Or the dog gives you the middle finger and says, I'm going to kill it anyway, man. I'm so hard-headed, I'm going to do it anyway. So those are the 2 negative potential outcomes of just being no, negative. In my way of doing it, you want a very equal amount of positive. In fact, I wouldn't even say equal. You want like 9 positives for every negative. And what I mean by that is you get them on what you do want them to get. Raccoons, squirrels, rats.
You want a 9 out of 10 in every aspect.
Yeah. We're gonna give you 9 things you can get before I show you something you can't get. And so when I get a new dog like that, I don't even let it around the mink. I don't want him to see a mink, smell a mink, nothing. I don't want to have the opportunity where I should be correcting it. I want to make friends with that dog and I want to show him what I do want him to do. So we get rats, we get raccoons, we get whatever that dog's supposed to get, ground squirrels or tree squirrels or whatever it is, and get it, good boy, get it. And then once we've got that rapport, and once he knows what he's allowed to get, then I introduce what he's not allowed to get. And I'll start in a very controlled scenario. I've got the dog on leash and the mink in a cage or on a leash itself. And if that dog shows any interest in the mink, he gets an immediate harsh no. And I actually have gotten to where I like to not even acknowledge it. I'll just use an e-collar. But the key is you got to get it early before he's heated. It's just a casual interest. He looks the direction of the mink and he's like, yep. And you say, nope, zap. And then you immediately, I'll have a rat in my pocket, literally. And if you don't have live, you can use a dead rat on a string or a coon hide or something. That works. But the ideal is if you could have a live animal, whether it's a coon in a roll cage or a live rat in your pocket or a live squirrel or whatever, you give him something he can get immediately. And that dog, if he's a high enough drive dog, that introduction to the mink might be across the yard, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you walk him right up to the cage and get him all lamped up and start shocking him, because if he's a hot enough dog, he's just going to ignore it. You just show him from a distance or whatever's the most casual way you could show him, hey, there's a mink. Nope, we're not going to do that. Yes, we're going to do this immediately. Yes, get the rabbit, get the squirrel, get the rat, get the raccoon, whatever it is. Good boy, get the coon, get the coon.
And that's the thing with dogs and training. Everything got to be immediate.
Yeah, immediate. Yep. And that dog, he's getting reprimanded literally for showing interest. It's not he's going for the mink. He looked at that mink and thought, ooh, I like it. And I said, nope, you don't. And you just slowly build up to where they don't even want to look at the mink. Then they're like, oh, man, that mink sucks. Every time I look at that mink, every time I get excited about that mink, I get shocked. I'm just going to ignore it. And then as soon as you ignore it, hey, good boy, here's a rat. Oh, yeah, get that rat. And pretty soon they start realizing, hey, man, there's no reason to go after that silly mink. I've got enough rats to kill. I've got enough coons to chase. I've got enough, other things to get.
And that's key with keeping the dogs working.
Yeah, and then we just slowly get them closer and closer, and then eventually
dog is not a good dog.
And then what I'll eventually do is I'll have them working together. So now the mink's negative. He doesn't even want anything to do with the mink. We'll say, hey, look, this mink's actually not your bad guy. He's actually your friend. Watch this. And we'll put a rat down a tunnel and have a leash on the mink so the mink is still under control. And you put the mink down the tunnel and the rat comes running out, but you've got the mink under control so he can't follow it or kill the rat or whatever. And the dog gets the rat. And he's like, oh, hey, that mink's kind of cool. But usually how I'll start is I'll leave the rat in the tunnel or in a wood pile or whatever. And this is all controlled. I don't typically do this in an actual hunt. It's all some kind of controlled scenario. And I'll leave that dog to get frustrated trying to get to the rat. And he can't. It's in the tunnel. I can't get it. And then when he's thoroughly frustrated, I'll pull him back and say, watch this, and put the mink down. And all of a sudden the rat appears. And that dog says, oh, that's cool. I could not get to that rat by myself. But with that mink's help, now all of a sudden I can get the rat. That mink's not such a bad guy. I just need to respect him, give him space. If he kills a rat, back up and let him have it. But I don't need to hate that mink. I just need to respect him. And maybe I still don't really like him, but I know when he goes down that hole, good things happen. So I'm not going to hate him. I'm just going to respect him, keep my distance, not bite him, not fight him over a rat. If he's got a rat, it's his rat. And I've actually had a Patterdale that was a year and a half old, and she had experience killing mink before I got her. She was out hunting hunting for mink with her previous owner, killed mink. So she knew exactly what a mink was and wanted to kill it. And using those steps, within weeks, she was ratting with a mink, going down under stuff with a mink, not grabbing the mink, respecting the mink's rat when the mink had a rat, and killing every other rat, and dropping a rat if the mink came for it. Oh, you got it. It's yours. I'm not going to fight you over it. And that was within weeks, and her being a year and a half old, having already killed mink before I owned her. So I I just presented like the worst case scenario. Actually, most dogs don't even need any of that. I've had dogs that I brought home and I said no, and they said, okay, boss. And I said, go get that instead. And they said, oh, yes, please. And that was all they needed. Full grown dogs. I had a game bred pit bull that I got out of Texas. He was like 19 months old. Literally never laid a hand on him, never shocked him. All I said was in a gruff voice, that's not appropriate. We're not going to do that anymore. And he said, okay, boss. And he was easy. And a lot of puppies are that way. But when you get a real hard-headed, high-drive terrier that's a mature adult or an almost mature, older puppy, you got to have some aversives in there. And if you use them appropriately, you're not going to make them nervous about what they can get. But like I said, you got to have so many positives in there, or you're going to end up with one of three results. You get lucky and it works, or you get unlucky and either the dog's scared of getting anything, or they give you the middle finger, say, I'm going to do it anyway because you don't let me do anything. I'm just going to kill the mink anyway. I'll just wait till you're not looking, But every dog I've had so far, regardless of breed or age, so far, I guarantee you there's some dog it won't work with. I just have never experienced it. Eventually, like every dog I've ever had just said, okay, no mink, I'm good. And someday I'll have some mink that's not the dog, someday I'll have some dog that's not the case, but I've been through enough. I feel confident until I don't, right? But yeah, dogs are a lot more moldable than a lot of guys give them credit for. A lot of guys get excited about how gritty their dogs are and think that means you can't train XYZ out of them, and that's just not been my experience. And I've had hard terriers too. I haven't just had the type that I have now that are bay types. The reason I have baying types is because I've had the hard types that end up looking like a bull terrier when they're done on a dig. They go down a beaver hole, fight a coon until you can't even recognize them, and then have weeks and weeks and weeks of recovery. I've had those types of terriers, and I broke them to mink. So I'm not just talking, because I know some guys are going to say, oh, well, that's just because your terriers are crap. Yeah, you've got these soft little barking ones. Well, that's what I've got now, but I started out with ones that weren't that way. So, and then obviously, we all know what game bred pit bulls are capable of, and they're actually significantly easier to train than terriers in my experience. Like I said, that 19-month-old that I just literally just told him, hey, we're not going to do that. And he's like, okay, boss. That's all it took. There aren't very many 19-month-old Patterdales that you're going to be able to talk them out of something just verbally. You got to get a little physical, unfortunately. But a lot of the pit bulls are a lot more handler sensitive, a lot more biddable. But I've had terriers too that are a little more on the sensitive side. So there's variation in every type, and every breed has their own personalities. But yeah, by far the easiest way to do it, of course, is to start them as a pup. But in my experience, at least, by no means is that required. It's just easier. Like I said, I think the oldest dog I've mink broke to livestock, I think was 4, and had plenty of experience. It's not like they're a 4-year-old that sat on a chain or in a kennel. They're a 4-year-old who's been out in the heat of action. And then I took them and said, okay, we're going to make some rules. We're not doing this, but we can keep doing that. So, but yeah, dogs are amazing creatures. You sure wouldn't be able to do that very easily, if at all, with a mink. I don't think in a million years. I don't know. Maybe if you had the advantage of e-collars, because that's the thing with a mink. You can't put an e-collar on a mink. They're too small. But if you use your tools right, you really don't have to be that harsh on the dog. Like I said, I was really just painting like the worst case scenario picture. I've had a lot of dogs where you really don't have to be that hard on them. Most dogs are pretty reasonable creatures, even very, very high drive dogs. If they realize there's something they can get, you don't honestly have to be that hard on them on the stuff they can't get. They'll just be like, okay, boss, you might have to remind me a few more times, but I'll get it in my head. and go after what I want. And the other key is too, I think one of the other mistakes that people get is they start telling the dog no when they're in the heat of battle. Like, what's a better word for it? Heat's the wrong word, obviously, that people think of breeding when you say heat. But when their mind's just hot and on fire and they're just raging, that's not a time to be training a dog. It's too late at that point. You need to be training them when their mind's cool and they've perked up. They've got an interest in what they're not supposed to get. They're not full blown losing their mind. At that point, it's yeah, I mean, you're left with nothing but being super harsh. But if the dog just has a perked interest and you shut it down while the interest is more of a curiosity than a full blown passion, I think that's where a lot of guys make the mistake, is they're trying to train the dog while his mind's gone and he's full of adrenaline. And it's hard to get through to even very biddable dogs when they're that heated. But yeah, timing is a big part of it. Yep. But yeah, I sure wish I had mink that were as easy to train as dogs. even the stubbornest dog is relatively easy compared to a mink. Though I say that my line has been getting more and more. I don't know if you want to call it biddable, if that's really the right term, but they've been getting more and more easy to train over the generations for sure. Not that they're any less aggressive. They're just as apt to bite you as some wild mink you just caught or bought from a fur farm or whatever. They're just as likely to bite you. But I mean, I've got them to the point where they're more inclined to work with you than against you, which the problem with most mink is they're very inclined to work independently. They don't have that pack mentality of a dog. They have an independent mind, and so they just want to do their own thing. The beautiful thing with a mink that I've been breeding as of late is they've got a little bit more of a partnership mentality. And sure, they're just as likely to bite you and they're just as aggressive, because I haven't really even tried to select that out. I've been so focused on drive and intelligence and athletic ability and all these other traits that I haven't worried so much about whether they want to bite me or not. I mean, I could just avoid that, or raise one from a baby. And usually that goes away if you put in the time from an early age. But yeah, I have had good luck with that's the mink that I inbred off of. His name's Sherlock. He really puts it into his offspring, and he has it himself, where he's just so much more inclined to work with you. It makes him a lot more pleasant to work with. So maybe at some point I'll have him pleasant to work with and not trying to bite. That would be cool, but that's not a luxury I have at this moment. I'm chasing so many other traits. Like I said, athletic ability, intelligence, willing to bring back the prey, grit, drive, all of that, food drive even. I don't have the luxury of throwing in another trait at this point. But eventually, if I get it breeding true enough, maybe I will select for a little less likely to bite. That would make it more pleasant for sure.